In this video, you will learn how to create alerts on statistical outliers and deviations using OCI Logging Analytics. In this example, I will create an alarm for an application making API calls. This application records its API calls in the logs. For this demo, I will classify the APIs as passed or failed APIs. In this example, I want to write an alarm to be triggered at the interval of 15 minutes if there are more than 30% of the APIs failing. Let's get started. First, let's create two labels to be associated with the log's source. In Oracle Cloud, go to the navigation menu, click Observability and Management, and then go to Logging Analytics and select Administration. I can use a source I created previously, or, as in this example, I create a new source. Next, click Create Source. Enter a name and optionally a description. Select the source type as file. For the entity type, select OCI API Gateway. Now, I select a parser I created in a previous demo. You can find the link to that demo in the video description below. Select the Live Labs MooShop API Logs parser. To associate the labels with this parser, click Labels. Next, I click Add Conditional Label. A conditional label requires an input field, an operator, and a conditional value. If I want the first label to find the failed APIs, then I can look for the following status codes: 401, 400, 404, 406, and 409. All these status codes represent a failed API call. Now, click Create Label. I don't have an existing label for failed APIs, so let's create a new one. Enter a name. In this example, I enter Live Labs API failed. I want this label to indicate a problem with a medium priority, and then I click Create. Next, click Add to add this label to the source. Next, I would like another label for all the past APIs. To do that, click Add Conditional Label. Select the input field as status, and then select Not Contains as the operator. If the status does not contain the following values, 401, 400, 404, 406, and 409, then the API is considered a passed API. I start with the first conditional value, 401, and then click the plus icon to add all the other past conditions, 400, 404, 406, and 409. Now, I want to match all of these conditions, so I select And. Next, click Create New Label and enter a name. In this example, I enter Live Lab API Passed. Passed APIs do not indicate a problem, so I do not need to select this checkbox. Click Create and then click Add. Click Create Source. Now, the source is created and it's associated with the two labels. Next, let's create detection rules to detect these two labels. Click Create Rule. Select the ingest time detection rule and enter a name. In this example, I enter the name as Live Lab Detect Passed API. Select the label I just created. Optionally, I can enter the entity type or the log source. Next, select the target service to receive the notifications. In this example, I select Monitoring as the target service. Next, select the metric compartment, and then select the metric namespace and the metric name. Now, let's make a note of this metric compartment, the namespace, and the name so I can use this information again when I create the next detection rule. Click Create Detection Rule. Next, let's create another detection rule to detect the failed APIs. Select the ingest time detection rule. Enter a name. In this example, I enter the name and then select the label for the failed APIs. I make sure to provide the same metric compartment, the namespace, and the name that's used in the detection rule to detect the passed APIs. Click Create Detection Rule. Now, I have two detection rules that are detecting the two labels I previously created. Next, let's create an alarm so I will be notified when these rules are detected. Select Detection Rules. Now, I see a list of all the detection rules. An alarm can be created based on any detection rule. Click the Live Labs Failed API detection rule, and then click Create Alarm. Enter a name for the alarm. In this example, that's Live Labs Failed APIs. Now, I want to receive an alarm if this is detected more than 30% of the time. This is a critical severity. Click Switch to Advanced Mode to write a complex query. Optionally, I can enter any tags. Confirm the metric namespace and the compartment are identical to what I entered when creating the detection rules. In this example, I will use a complex query for both detection rules. Next, I save this query so that I can copy and paste it here. The query has a few placeholder values. I will need to add the actual OCIDs for the detection rules. To do this, right-click on the tab and click Duplicate Tab. In the new tab, go to the navigation menu, click Observability and Management, and then go to Logging Analytics and select Administration. Click Detection Rules, and then click Live Lab Detect Failed API. Click to copy the OCID. Now, let's go to the previous tab and select the OCID in the placeholders. This OCID is used 2 times in the query, so paste it in both places. Repeat this process for the other detection rule that detects the past APIs. Now, the complex query is ready. Set the trigger delay to 1 minute. Now, I can select the option to show the data as a graph or as a table. For the alarm notifications, I can use the notification service. Select the correct compartment and then select an available topic. If there are no existing topics, I can create a new topic. In this example, I select the group notifications across metric streams for the message grouping, and then I select the option to send formatted messages. Click Save Alarm. Now the alarm is created, and I see the details for this new alarm, including the query that generates the alarm. Next, let's run a script to upload files that will trigger the alarm I just created. Go to Developer Tools and select Cloud Shell. If you want to use the same script that I used in this video, go to the link in the video description and you will find a link to the tutorial with instructions and the script. Alternatively, you can use your own log files to trigger the alarm. Run the script to generate the log files. Enter the number of the compartment you'd like to upload the files to. Make sure the source and log group are in the same compartment. Close the Cloud Shell. From the navigation menu, go to Observability and Management, Logging Analytics, and then click Administration. It will take a few minutes to trigger an alarm, and then the information displays on the Alarms tile. Refresh the page, and now I see one critical alarm was fired. Click the number on the Detection Rules tile. Click the triggered alarm. Now, I see the information for this alarm and that it's in the firing state. Drill down to see the alarm data. I see the query that ran, the topic, and the data that can be displayed as a graph or a table. I can also change the time so that I can see the data for the last 6 hours. Now, I see the alarm fired every 15 minutes in the last 6 hours. Now you've learned how to create alarms on statistical outliers and deviations using logging analytics. You can find links to the related videos, documentation topics, and tutorials in the description below this video.